Hello, folks. Disembodied voice of Ray here. I somehow created a horrible feedback cycle. I have no idea how I did that one, but hey, how you doing? Hope you're feeling good. We are back with another fantastic charity stream. This time we are here with GODKILLER, which I am super excited to see. One, how that works, and two, as it's been said in the chat, attack, dethrone, and ready to kill God. So I'm super hype. Two quick things. First of all, this is a charity stream. We are currently raising money for the Austin Urban League. They are a fantastic charity which, as some of you may know, Texas was hit with some rather awful weather recently, which did destroy quite a lot of the infrastructure of the area. They are not used to such cold weather, as you can probably imagine, and a lot of people are struggling with housing, feeding their families, and other such things. The Austin Area Urban League are a fantastic group dedicated to helping African American and other marginalized communities with food and water and clothing and housing, especially during these kind of crises. Anything that you can donate would be just super appreciated and will help change someone's life. So if you do have anything to spare, please go ahead and take a look in the chat. There is a donation link. You can also take a look on their site, or take a look on Friends Who Roll Dice's Twitter. We don't care where you donate, as long as you donate. That's all that really matters. It would be super appreciative. The other thing is that this is probably the first time we've had to do a content warning, a full content warning like this on the channel. This will be gone over by our wonderful guests here as well, but I just wanted to throw it out, and you can see on the screen a quick content warning. The game is pretty heavy and pretty adult, so viewer discretion is definitely advised with this one. You should be wary that this game can contain gore described in quite a lot of detail, blood, rated R violence, body horror, animal death, harm to animals, religious trauma, cults, fanaticism, war, psychological horror, and other such content that could be deemed distressing. So please make sure you are using your own discretion and looking after yourselves, because that is priority number one. All right, that is enough of me. I am going to hand you over to our fantastic duo here. Let them introduce themselves and entertain you. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoy.
Hello. Am I visible? Can I be seen? Great. Awesome. Thank you so much for that awesome introduction, Ray. We're so excited to be here, and this is such a worthy and awesome charity to be donating to. So if you have some spare money lying around, please donate to the Austin Urban League to benefit folks who are hit hard by weather changes in Texas. So with that out of the way, hello, welcome. Thank you for stopping by. My name is Connie. My pronouns are they, he, and she. And typically I am the GM and executive producer for Transplanar RPG, which is an all transgender, people of color led 100% homebrew Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition live streamed actual play campaign set in an original non-colonial anti-Orientalist world. I am also a professional GM with Magpie Games curated play program where I GM Masks: A New Generation. You can also see me guesting on various streams here and there. For example, I've guested with Off the Table, Asians Represent, and Utopia. And I'm excited to be here with Friends Who Roll Dice because I love y'all, and I'm so excited to debut GODKILLER. But before we get into that, C, would you like to introduce yourself?
I would love to introduce myself. Hello, everyone. My name is C. I use they, them pronouns. I am a professional dancer, a digital artist, and now a tabletop streamer as well. I am also a cast member on Transplanar RPG. I am literally sitting in the same room as Connie, and I am also today playing the God Killer. If you're interested in following me on social media, I stream here on Twitch every Tuesday, Friday, and Sunday. So you can catch me doing that at pi_sharp at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. But otherwise, you can find me on Twitter and all of those other cool things at pi sharp art. And I think without further ado, we're gonna tell us about God Killer, Connie, because I am so excited.
Absolutely. To start things off, I'm just going to drop my itch in the chat because this is, I don't have anything up there yet. It's blank. But if you want to toss me a follow, that you will be the first to know when God Killer's quick start rules are available for purchase and for preview. So let's hop right into it. Before we even get into what God Killer is, I have to give some acknowledgments for, I have to credit a lot of other people whose work have directly inspired the design. So God Killer is powered by the Apocalypse, which means its core rules utilize the tabletop role-playing game originated by Megumi Baker and Vincent Baker using their inaugural Apocalypse World game, which was the first powered by the Apocalypse game ever. And many of the concepts, rules, moves, skills, and other features in God Killer are inspired directly by other fantastic games, including Masks, A New Generation, Urban Shadows, Monster of the Week, Apocalypse World, of course, Dungeon World, Dream Askew, and Balik Bayan. And many elements of the setting, magic system, themes, and overall aesthetic are inspired by media such as Mad Max Fury Road, directed by George Miller, The Raven Tower, not The Raven Queen, which is an awesome novel written by Anne Leckie, and the Locked Tomb trilogy by Tamsin Muir. God curse her soul. She really knows how to play at our heartstrings. So just as a reminder, this is an unreleased playtest version of the official Quick Start Guide. So the text and the mechanics and, the nitty gritty are definitely still in development and subject to change. I also want to welcome feedback on this. So if you, saw this and you're like, this was great, I loved it, like ping me on Twitter at @ByConnieChang, or if you're like, ooh, I thought you really could have done this with that, or like, ooh, I have these, I am welcoming feedback. Yes, based on what you see in this stream. For me, from a design standpoint. And see, you look like you wanted to say something.
Oh, I think I was just going to make a funny quip at you and make fun of you, but now I don't remember what I was going to say. That's all.
Head empty, no thoughts. So with that out of the way, let's get right into the introduction of God Killer RPG. What the hell is it? God Killer RPG is a holy punk powered by the Apocalypse, a tabletop role-playing game built for one player, the God Killer, and one GM, God. You, my player, my dearest, loveliest player, you are the God Killer, the only mortal in a ruined world capable of killing a god. Your life is complicated. Some gods will seek to kill you, others to control you. Still others will seek to understand you, to ally with you, to abuse and curse and love and consume you. But ultimately, your fate is your own. So, what will you do with your power? How will you shape the world? And most importantly, which gods are you going to kill? And which gods are you going to spare? So I've got a little for the player section that I, the GM, am going to read out. And then C is going to read out the for the GM section because we like to be topsy-turvy here. So for the player, things to keep in mind when you are being the God Killer. God Killer is a heroic tragedy. This game explores the power of the divine hero, but more importantly, their pain. After completing his 12 labors, Heracles, son of Zeus, is driven mad by the jealous goddess Hera. He slaughters his family with his bare hands, tearing his wife and children into pieces with his godly strength. Upon regaining his senses, Heracles falls into despair and contemplates suicide. Prideful Achilles, half immortal from a Stygian baptism, refuses to fight the Trojans because a Greek commander has offended him. It is only when his lover, Patroclus, is slain by the Trojans that he pledges his sword to the Greeks, but by then it's too late. He has already lost his one true love. The Pegasus tamer Bellerophon, son of Poseidon, slays the Chimera, conquers the Solimai, and defeats the Amazons. In his arrogance, he flies to Mount Olympus on his steed, believing he deserves to ascend to true godhood. He is flung from Pegasus. Bellerophon survives the fall, but is forever broken, scorned by mortals and gods alike. He dies alone, forgotten and unloved. So, as the God Killer, you...
Oh, how exciting. Ooh.
You too, as the God Killer, possess the powers of a god, but also the heart and the soul of a mortal. This game asks the player, and this is the central thematic question for the player, what sacrifices must a divine hero make in order to save the world? Will you become a monster on your path to righteousness, earning the fear, scorn, and hatred of others until the end of your days, like poor Bellerophon? Will you intervene in dire conflicts only when it suits you, winning your battles but losing what actually matters, like tragic Achilles? Or will your deeds be so heroic and so numerous that a god finally decides to put you in your place, like grief-stricken Heracles? As for the God Killer, you will also accomplish incredible things, but you will endure incredible tragedies as well. Tragedies of your own creation and tragedies foisted upon you by the gods. You are trapped between your mortal heart and your divine powers, caught up in a conflict that predates you, embroiled in a war you never asked for. Mortals will fear, revere, seduce, and scorn you. Gods will tell you who you are. But ultimately, it's up to you to decide what you stand for, what your gospel is. So, what will you do with your power? Embrace your role as a tragic hero and play to find out what's worth sacrificing for. What will you kill in yourself, and what will you spare?
Well, now that's all fine and dandy, right? But there's also a section for the GM. So, my dear GM, your player is the hero. You are the tragedy. You are the gods, the fates, the curse, the madness. You are the monsters and the darkness and the flashback and the regret. You are the knives and the quests and the lovers and the traitors. You are their pain. You are their humanity. Your job is to make the God Killer question their sacrifices. Always ask, was it worth it? If they say yes, give them a harder choice next time. If they say no, give them hope. Like how grief has no meaning without joy, tragedy has no meaning without hope. Be tragic, but do not be cruel. Your God Killer will suffer. This is a given. But they must also find joy, friendship, love, compassion. Give your God Killer something to fight for. In every ruthless world, there is always something worth saving. There are always people who deserve protection, guidance, forgiveness, and a future. That's all to say that this is a balancing act. If things are going well, stab them with a knife. If things are going to shit, offer them hope. Give their consequences actions. Give their actions consequences. Can I read? No. Give their actions consequences. Good ones, bad ones, weird ones. You are the last god that your player will kill.
So with that out of the way, thank you for that beautiful reading, C. Just to go over some basics of the campaign structure, and then we're going to actually hop into play. How exciting. I hope you're scared, see. So as a reminder, God Killer is powered by the Apocalypse, which means it uses 2d6 and that's it, nothing else. Yes, please get your dice. See, you're so silly. Uses 2d6 as its core resolution mechanic with a focus on character, roleplay, cinematic action. And again, this game is built for one player and one GM. So it's perfect for duets, perfect for if you just have that one other person you want to play with. So the structure of each God Killer campaign is loosely based off of the archetypal hero's journey. At the end of the day, that's what this game's about, a great hero and their even greater tragedy. So at the beginning of the campaign, the God Killer, the premise is the God Killer has just discovered their abilities and is finding their place in the cradle, which is the name of this last bastion of life in a shattered world. The cradle is highly divided with danger, brimming with gods who want to eat each other. And in this world, only a god can kill another god. mortals live and exist only to really serve their gods and survive. So during character creation, which we've already done off screen, the player creates their god killer, deciding their name, look, gear, stats, skills, the god or gods they worship, and who they are at the start of the campaign and what they stand for. Then the player and the GM work together to figure out who exactly is the first god they killed, i.e. how their character discovers in the first place that they are the god killer. The player also starts the campaign cursed by the dying breath of the god they killed, which is a mechanic here. Whenever you kill or spare a god, there's a role you have to do. And the god killer also starts with one kill box marked, which is an aspect of the character sheet that is very important to play. Basically, the campaign ends when you kill or spare 10 gods, but I'll get to that in a second. Next, it is time for the very first session, which I have dubbed the Prologue. In the Prologue, the player and the GM describe all events leading up to the killing of their very first god. The GM might take the god killer through their daily routine, playing through each hour of that fateful day, or the GM might start the Prologue in media res with the deed already done and the god killer reeling from their actions. Either way, the Prologue ends with the GM introducing a twist of sorts that sets the stage for session 2. Or whatever is next. If you want to play the prologue in session 1 in the same session, that's fine, which is what we're going to do here. After that, the campaign unfolds. The primary action of the game revolves around the god killer undertaking heroic quests to kill gods, spare gods, discover what their weaknesses are, harvest magic, fight monsters, suture alliances, and basically uncover the mysteries of this broken world. The specifics of each quest do depend on your particular table and the kinds of stories you and your player are interested in telling. But I hope to, when the quick start guide is done, provide a bunch of like quest ideas and quest hooks later on in this guide. But just remember, no matter what, the emergence of the god killer is always explosive. Some gods are going to want to fight for their favor, right? They're like, oh, this is like an incredible power. We want you on your side. Others will dismiss their power, being like, oh, you might be able to kill a god, but you're no god. And still others will try to kill them and perceive them as a threat, right, to their own abilities. The god killer has to be very careful about choosing who to trust and who not to trust, who their friends, who their allies, and their enemies are. And the campaign, as I mentioned earlier, the game ends when the god killer kills or spares 10 gods in any combination. They could kill 10. They could spare 9 because you begin the campaign with 1 god killed. You could kill 5. You kill 4, spare 5, it's up to you. Whatever the combination, the story ends when the 10th kill or spare box is marked. And at that point, it's time for the epilogue, which the details of which I still need to flesh out. But I'm excited about this as the overall structure of each God Killer RPG campaign. So with that out of the way, C, are you ready to play?
Oh my God, I'm so ready to play. I'm also ready to donate, just to get us started here, because they are so close to their stretch goal, y'all. Just like really close. So I love you. If you want to kill God, donate. And now I'm ready to start.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Yeah, please do donate. They're so close. They're $90 away from their goal. That's nothing. That's chickens. I might even donate. Like that is, we can do this, y'all. So let's begin. Again, a reminder of content warnings before we start for those who might have missed it. Content warnings for this one shot, as well as the game in general, include war, gore described in detail, blood, R-rated violence, body horror, animal death, harm to animals, religious trauma, cults and fanaticism, and psychological horror. Just as a note, C and I did discuss our personal lines and veils before the start of the stream off camera, so you can be assured that we did that. We will also be using the X card during play, if any landmines come up for either of us. Okay, so let's get started. 10,000 years ago, the gods descended from the river and taught us how to speak. They taught us how to build homes and write letters and cook food and fall in love. They taught us what to do and what not to do, what evil was, what good was, how to think, how not to think. They taught us to pray, to devote, to adhere, to worship. Finally, after we had proven our faith, the gods taught us magic. And then the river dried up, and the gods were stranded here with us. With each other, and their magic was running out. The first god to die was Temperance, the sorrow of the river. They were slain by their brother Abstention, who devoured their magic and became strong. The other gods witnessed and learned. Soon, another god was killed, then another, and another. The devouring, as we came to call it, was an age of death, blood, famine, hatred. Gods killed and were killed. They sent their mortal worshippers to war, and their worshippers seized territory and drew borders and built walls and made flags and wrote anthems. Which brings us to you, Godkiller. It is year 4926 of the Devouring. 3 divine alliances dominate the Cradle, the last remaining region of the world that's still inhabitable. The industrious tapestry of the Southlands, the bloodthirsty sons of conquest of the Northlands, and the elusive Sybarites scattered across our ruined realm. A hostile mountain range known as the Teeth splits the Cradle from east to west, separating the Northlands from the Southlands and spanning deep, deep, deep into the salt wastes, the vast, withered tracts of brackish earth surrounding the Cradle. Nothing survives out in the salt wastes. Strewn across our realm are the enormous bodies of dead and killed gods, along with their desecrated shrines, forgotten temples, and looted altars. Monsters, too, stalk the Cradle, threatening mortals and gods alike with their fierce, unpredictable maraudings. Monsters first emerged when the river dried up. Other than that, we don't know much about them. They defy classification. Which, again, brings us to you. You are the first and only mortal with god-killing powers. Your existence is monumental. Up until now, only gods have been able to kill other gods. Up until now, the future depended on the divines. Up until now, the lines of power between mortal and deity had been clear. But you're not the god killer yet. You were someone before this, before all of this. And now let's get to the prologue.
Oh, I'm so fucked, huh? I'm so screwed.
Yep, you sure are. It's early. So early that light is a promise, not a presence. Morning fog swaddles the south-facing slopes of the Teeth. The jagged peaks of this mountain range, as well as the hedgewoods bristling along its borders, protect the pastoral Southlands from the sun-bleached deserts and desperate scavengers of the north. We pull in now on these mountains until we see a clearing of green grass on one of the slopes hedged by a thick copse of trees, dark trees. We see a flock of sheep. They're grazing. And occasionally, they baa. I just wanted to do my.
I just fucking knew. I was waiting for you to go baa. I was just fucking waiting for you to baa.
They go baa. And near this flock stands, of course, the shepherd, wrapped in morning mist, the crisp smell of the mountains sharp in their nose. Temperance, what do you look like?
Oh boy. Good old Temperance. Temperance is mid height, I would say. They're 5'9", probably. It's my height envy.
Okay, hold on. Mid height is 5'9".
Well, when you want to play characters that are always like 6'2" and tall, when you're 5'5", 5'9" is my dream height. Leave me alone. Temperance is 5'9". Now I'm blushing. Look at what you've done. Temperance is 5'9". They have pale skin that has been tanned over from being outside so much. They have these thin gold rimmed glasses that frame a kind of like squarely shaped haircut with these long fun sides, right? And a bit of a bob in the back. Brown hair. They look rather plain, except for these bright yellow eyes hidden behind their glasses. And they wear kind of traditional shepherd's clothes, trousers, buttoned up mid-waist, a white undershirt with kind of like a Swiss style, I would almost say, overcoat, which is like black with these embroidered red, blue, green, and yellow flowers kind of stitched up the lining. They are also holding a staff, which is sort of a glaive and sort of a staff, a walking stick that they carved themselves, and it seems like a piece of like what was once maybe like rusty junk metal has been like affixed to the top of this walking stick and tied with prayer beads. Yeah, that's Temperance. That's Temperance, babes.
So your name Temperance is meaningful. Why don't you tell us about it?
Yes. Temperance was named, of course, after the first god who was killed, the sorrow of the river. Their parents, Bellara and Rihoshi, named them Temperance because when they were born, they did not stop crying for 3 whole days. And as Temperance was named the sorrow of the river and is divinely touched, they named them Temperance, although they often go mostly by Tem.
So Tem, what are you doing right now?
Tem has just finished their morning prayers. I think was kneeling kind of in the dewy grass, and they use their glaive to rise to standing, kind of like pocketing the blessed water that they had kind of sprinkled on the grass and the little offerings of hazelnuts, tea leaves, and some berries that they had found for the vigilance, of course. They rise to standing, take a look at their flock, and then I think they would start moving through some sword forms as the sun rises, just kind of letting like the extension of their walking stick glaive like extend out and parsing through some like very basic, almost like yoga, but with a weapon.
Are you good at it?
Yeah, they do this every single morning. This is their morning routine. They are actually pretty good at it. It's very fluid, and although like the metal on top of the glaive is heavy, and the way you hold it is rather far from the end, it doesn't seem to be weighing on Temperance at all.
What are Bellara and Rihoshi doing right now?
Bellara and Rihoshi are at least a few miles away. They are tea and sheep farmers. They live kind of at the base of the teeth here. Whereas Temperance, after they had started to get a little bit older and climbing up the mountains to take care of the flock was becoming harder and harder on their bodies, Temperance took up the call, so to speak. So they're down at the bottom of the hill. They're down at the bottom. They're down at the bottom of the hill. I imagine also starting to wake up to get to tea harvesting.
Sounds good. Bellara, your mother, doesn't approve of you taking the sheep so far up to graze. Why is that? Well,
it's because Bellara is literally made of worry. Like her body, I think, subsists completely of the emotion of worry. But also because, I mean, the flock has been having to go higher and higher up. You know, when you rotate through the fields, they eat all the grass and we need to go higher. And just because the Northlands are on the other side of the teeth doesn't mean that this side is dangerous. The vigilance of the Hedgewoods continues to watch over this land. We're safe. It's fine.
What about the wolves and the monsters, though?
Well, that's why I practice my sword forms every morning.
Okay, sounds good. So, Tim, now that we've gotten to know each other a little bit more, you are doing your sword forms blade yoga, as people in the chat have so affectionately dubbed it, I think. How many sheep are in your flock?
Ooh, I'd say probably around 20 to 30. Easy. You know, it's not a huge flock, but it's enough that, you know, Temperance has to watch them.
20 or 30. You're trying to be, is that what you said? Yeah. Okay, good. You just gave me a look like, really? I'm shifted into sheep mode.
I'm thinking about sheep. I'm shifting into sheep mode.
Anyway, as you are doing your sword forms, you notice a couple of sheep on the edge of your periphery doing something they've never really done before. They start to wander off, and you're usually pretty good at like keeping them like in one place. But some, sheep do what they want to do. A couple of sheep, maybe like 2 or 3, begin to wander off in the direction of the dark wood. This is a extension of the hedgewoods, which are these like thick, bristling forests that sort of basically span the entire southern side of the Teeth. And as you mentioned earlier, the vigilance of the hedgewoods is a major god here. She sort of watches over all of these forests, and it's said that every tree, every root, every flower on the ground inside the hedgewoods is both her eyes, ears, mouth, and nose. So she can see everything that happens in the hedgewoods, which is probably another reason why you feel like you're so safe, because you have the protection of the god here. But yeah, you notice a couple of sheep wandering off toward that dark wood, maybe a couple dozen feet away. What do you do?
Temperance makes a face, kind of, and they like pause mid sweep, I think. They go. They whistle twice to try to get their attention. They're like, I really should have let us get a sheepdog. I really, really should have let us get a sheepdog. They like kind of watch for a second because it's, the sheep roam, Temperance is basically just there to let them roam. As long as they don't go too far into the woods, it should be fine.
The sheep soundly ignore you, which is perhaps a little odd because this flock, and the sheep, you recognize them. Let's say these sheep are the ones that tend to be more obedient, actually. So it's odd that they're ignoring you. They sort of wander off into the forest. You see a few of them like flap their ears at you, and like shake their hind a little bit to like get a fly off. I'm just trying to embody a sheep. Okay, I'm shifting into sheep mode. And you see like one of them pauses and sort of corks their head to like glance over their like little fluffy body at you, but the other 2 like wander like deeper into this wood. What do you do?
Okay. Temperance, it's, odd that they're going in, but maybe they like have smelled clover or something nice deep in there, maybe like a natural spring that they're heading to. So Temperance, I think, like takes a moment to kind of finish their morning routine. Insofar as they will send another prayer up to the huntsman first, to the huntsman to guide my hand and protect this body, bestow courage into my heart, the vigilance, please watch over me, my family. I carry my legs, my feet, freedom and restless, guide me. Sior, remind me what life means when it's worth living. And with that, they sprinkle just like a little bit more holy water down before like taking up their glaive and being like, okay. And they like whistle a few more times, like, hey. And they kind of like trot after the other sheep, kind of like getting around the side to kind of cut in front of, so no more go in, kind of basic shepherding.
Sure. You follow the 2 sheep that have continued to wander into the wood. They've got like a couple dozen feet head start on you.
Hey, Blueberry, get back here.
Bah. I get to do my ba vocal work. As you trot into the forest, into this dark copse of trees that they disappeared in, everything gets like noticeably darker as the sun is rising, right? And the mist begins to dispel. You're cast again into sort of like a gloom and a shadow. And here you can smell sort of like a deep earth. You can smell like fungus. You can smell spores, and you can smell just like a kind of like a wet earth. It's rained recently here. You can surmise based off of your nose. And there's even like a couple vines hanging off these trees here, but most of them are like coniferous. Right. And you can see like a few like roots jutting out of the ground. You see like a bush shake as like a rabbit darts, in front of your path and like disappears into another bush. And you sort of see like the little white tails of your two sheep like disappear into like a couple of bushes in front of you. What do you do?
Temperance pauses, clasps their hands together in front of them with the glaive, and they're like, "Vigilance, forgive me for trespassing in your forest, but my fucking sheep." And then they again, like they are kind of trying to get in and out as fast as they can of this area, and just like parting the sea of bushes. I forgot the word for bush.
You part the bushes and you sort of stumble out into a little clearing, the center of which you see a patch of white clover, like really nice, thick clover. And your two sheep are like toddling toward it, and they begin to like lower their heads and graze and chomp on this really delicious looking clover. What do you do?
Temperance pauses and they're like, "Blueberry, there's literally so much clover. Fine, we'll harvest some and get it." They're going to kind of like stow their glaive in its holster over their shoulder, take out a little dagger that they have from the inner pocket of their shepherding clothes, and similarly like walk over and they would start to harvest a little bit of the white clover as their sheep are munching on it.
Before you get close enough, I just want a question about the other sheep. You have Blueberry. What's the other sheep called?
Ooh, the other sheep is called, I'm looking around to get a name. Lila.
Yes, we have our friend Lila standing in the corner. That's why you saw her and you decided to call the sheep Lila. Okay, Blueberry and Lila. Blueberry and Lila are sort of like, they're both like, they're eating really fast. Like whatever this clover is delicious. And they're like chomping at it. And as you get closer, Temperance, a sense of unease, let's say, that sweeps over you. Perhaps before you get close enough to harvest, there's something like a gut feeling begins pulling at you that something is amiss here. Would you like to study a place of power?
A roll? Yes, I'd like to roll. Tell me what to do.
Roll 2d6 and add your sage to it.
Oh, my sage is a -1.
Our sweet, silly boy, head empty, no thoughts. What'd you get?
A 4. Is a 4 a 4? So
that's a miss. Basically, if you're new to PBTA, a 6 and under is a miss. And in PBTA, a miss isn't like, oh, nothing happens. A miss means the GM gets to tell you what happens. And sometimes based on the move, they tell you what happens, what else happens on a miss. And this move for when you study a place of power for threats, opportunities, or truths, actually, I forgot to prompt you for my own move. Say what you think is going on and then roll plus sage. So what do you think is going on, Tem?
Temperance assumes that this is the Vigilance's area. I think that this might be holy land or like a holy patch of important to the Hedgewoods, certainly. A region, and my sheep are eating it now, and now the Vigilance is fucking mad.
So the miss move says on a miss, something bad notices you. So I think what happens is as you pause there, stalling, right? The clovers before your eyes appear to propagate, like more clovers appear, and Lila and Blueberry are obviously very, overjoyed about this development. They begin like snarfing it, starting to get more. They're very distracted by this clover. So distracted, in fact, that neither of your sheep notice when the clover begins to sort of pile up on itself. Have you ever seen a video of a cell undergoing mitosis? It's like that, but speed it up. It begins to take a shape, take a form. It begins to hulk sort of out of the ground. And the clover begins to peel off, like falling down like little flakes of white snow, white and green snow, falls off of this skin, the pale skin of a creature. It resembles, as it begins to tower up, a large, furless wolf, just made of skin. It doesn't even have a tail. And its mouth sort of opens from all these clovers, like drop out of the front of its face. And you see like you think, are more clovers like falling? And then you realize what's falling open is a huge jaw, about like the entire length of its body. It falls open, like bristling with these sharp, spiny teeth. And your sheep freeze. What do you do?
I also freeze. This is fucked up. Temperance's eyes go wide as they stare up at what used to be the clover and is definitely not the vigilance of the Hedgewoods. They stare in abject horror. They can't move.
Coming out of the deep, like, maw of this wolf, this skin wolf creature, you hear a guttural kind of oscillating, undulating laughter. And then it lunges. It lunges at Blueberry. Would you like to try to dive harm's way?
I should not have given these sheep cute names. I'm so fucking sorry. That's a move, right? I can. Yes. Yeah, I think in that moment, Temperance moves. This is literally what they are built to do.
So when you dive in harm's way to protect someone or something, roll plus grit. So do it.
All right, baby. Let's roll plus grit. 10.
Okay, wonderful. On a hit, you absorb the damage, keep them safe, and clear a condition. You don't have any conditions marked. So describe to me what it looks like as you keep Blueberry safe.
Don't worry, y'all. I'm going to protect Blueberry. Temperance moves. Their glaive is out, and they use it kind of like as almost like a shield. They literally like dive into Blueberry, pushing her like with the blunt end of the glaive, spin it around and kind of like prop it. If this thing has huge jaws, they're trying to like prop it into its jaws or like just bar it, block.
Okay. You try to like prop its mouth open, right? But on a hit, you keep someone safe, but you take the damage that they would have taken. So the jaws snap shut. They snap your weapon like it was made of nothing but like it was a matchstick, and your arm is caught in the huge like bristling like, and it slices clean through your arm like it's made of butter, like hot sticks going through butter. So I'm gonna need you to take 2 wound gnarly.
Ouch, motherfucker. I only have 5 wound altogether. Does my leather armor help me here at all?
Yes, leather gives you 1, so you only take 1 wound gnarly.
Okay, can do. Yikes, but gnarly, that's not good. Okie dokie.
Yes, so quick CD might be eating. So quick explanation of wounds here, because this is a little tutorial, a little taste, a little spice for the audience as well. Wounds are pretty straightforward. The GODKILLER starts with 5 wound boxes. Pretty standard, I think, in PBTA games. If a wound is declared gnarly, that means it won't heal at the end of the session. Usually you can heal 1 wound no matter what at the end of each session. And you'll have to like undertake like you have to do something special to treat it, either with magic or go to a special healer, etc. So this wound is particularly bad. That's what that means. So C, do you have that all squared away?
Literally squared in the boxes, yes. Welp.
Awesome. Sounds good. So this thing, it's huge alligator-like jaw, like hinges back open, and you see its white teeth are now bristling with your blood, and you can see like the holes in your arm, like you can see like onto the ground, like it's huge and it's horrible. And I think maybe like it's almost like a moment of tinnitus as like the world sort of fades out as this huge wave of pain hits you. Have you ever been hurt like this before?
Oh my God, no. I like fell down a ravine one time when I was little and maybe twisted my ankle. No, no, I fought wolves and stuff. This is not a wolf, okay? Temperance starts they scream and they start crying. And they grab the end of their glaive that has the prayer bead, the weapon and the prayer beads on them, literally holding on to the prayer beads so hard that I think they crack. And they like with, you know, their bitten arm kind of dragging behind them, scamper, like not scamper. They like, what's it called? They're moving backwards. They're wiggling backwards in fucking fear as they start to cry.
As you start to cry, you notice that the sheep you protected, Blueberry, has left. Blueberry has fled the scene. Blueberry has is gone, is out of there. But Lila is next to you, and Lila looks very similar to you. Looks fucking petrified. Lila is just standing there. And have you ever seen like a sheep shake before? Like Lila is trembling.
I mean, sheep, to be fair, always shake. You could sneeze at a sheep and it would shake. I just know that based on who I am as a person. But yes, so I feel the sheep, me and the sheep are sharing some fear here, I think.
Yeah, Tem, you and Lila are both like there. Like Lila appears like petrified, rooted to the spot, like doesn't have the instinct to run away from this threat. And as you begin to like pray and cry, like tears streaming down your face, I think some snot like coming out of your nose. This skin wolf monster creature, you're not exactly sure what it is at this point. It does that like weird oscillating, like gurgling laugh again, right? Like its mouth is full of blood while it's laughing, sort of what it sounds like, which it is. It's full of your blood. And it doesn't attack you again. In fact, it starts to circle you, you know, and you notice that its hands are like people hands, right? They're like human hands. And it's like, it's moving almost in this like elegant, like almost like lupine way. But it almost looks like it doesn't have a spine. It's sort of like undulating, right? It's kind of long, right? And it begins to circle you. And then it speaks. It says to you, let's see, what does it say? Your gods have no power over me. Cry, cry.
Is this a god? Can I use my theologist skill, which means when I meet a god for the first time, I can roll plus sage to see if I know what it is.
Roll plus sage. I like how like I wrote these skills and I'm like, what is that again? So I have to go to it.
Oh my God. I got 2 6s. That's a 12 -1, but it's an 11. I know exactly. It's like a nat 20. Donate. Nat 20.
Okay, so what that means is on a hit, ask 2. On a 10+, I will also clue you in on a weakness. So basically, gods, the only way for a god killer to kill a god, gods don't have wound boxes like other mortals, NPCs, and monsters do. Gods only have weaknesses, and you have to hit each weakness. You have to discover what they are, first of all, and then hit them during the course of a fight. But Tem, this is your first time. This is you becoming the god killer, right? So I don't think you know any of this. So first ask your 2 questions, and then I'll clue you in on a weakness.
Okay, my first question is, what is their gospel and what are they looking for?
Okay, so in the God Killer, gospel means what a god stands for. Basically, like, what are they all about? What's their domain? Like, what's their driving force? Who are they? And this creature, looking at it, slinking around you, it's circling you and Lila. Right. It's like sneering, and it's sort of like rough nails are gouging the earth, almost like it wants to like hurt the vigilance of the Hedgewoods. Right. It's like turning its big head side to side like an alligator, like in like a death roll. Right. As it's like circling you, and it's like snarfling, and it's going like, the Southland, such beauty here, wasted on you pathetic worms, you know. And as it continues to circle you, you can sort of figure out what its gospel is pretty quickly. It wants to inflict pain. It hasn't killed you yet. That's why. Inflicting pain is what gives it pleasure, right? And as you lock eyes with its, you know, like red, murderous gaze, it says to you, I am the rush of glee and the ecstasy that fills you when you imagine, embody, and destroy. I am the joy and the pleasure of a little cruelty. and it has given you its name. This is a god, and its name is a little cruelty. So your second question is, what are they looking for? Well,
I think maybe Temperance asks. Maybe we can do a little bit more in character stuff. As a little cruelty says this, and as Temperance realizes that this is a god and not a monster. They're already on the ground, but I think they kind of like roll over, and instead of being like back on their back, they roll over onto their knees and like clasp their hands above their head, like as much as it hurts, their arm, as they like the blood dripping down their arm, tears streaming down their face, and they say, oh, great divine one, I apologize for whatever transgression I must have committed to bring you here. I seek your mercy and your forgiveness. Please tell me what it is you're looking for here.
It obliges you. It stops circling you and it pauses in front of you. Its huge mouth gaping open. You can see into it. The mouth is almost as big as you. And interestingly enough, even though it has spoken, the mouth has not moved. The voice is sort of just emanating out from the depths of its jaw. And as you stare into like its esophagus, you're not sure, you see sort of like a dark light glowing sort of in the back of its mouth, sort of pulsating, right? And that's me cluing you in on a weakness, all right, with your 10 plus. And this thing speaks to you from this dark mass of light. And it says, what we want, what I want is to slaughter you all. We will slaughter your people, Southlander. We will defile your temples. We will burn your precious tapestry to the ground. The sons of conquest are coming, and you are our first sacrifice. What do you do?
Oh, fucking hell, what do I do? Okay. I'm looking at all the moves. Please, I beseech you, there is nothing here for you. I please just have mercy and you and then I think they turn kind of away from this creature, which is probably not interested in showing them mercy, and they like look down at their prayer beads and start whispering to the vigilance of the Hedgewoods.
This seems to enrage it, right? It sees what you're doing and it goes, the vigilance is not here. The vigilance will not help you. All she does is watch.
She's here. She's watching. Please, please, please see me. Please find me. Please protect me. Huntsman, give my heart courage. And trembling, Temperance stands. And with the kind of like they hold the broken end of their glaive, like literally trembling in their hands, so loud that the prayer beads begin to like clack against each other, and they level it at the cruelty, at a little cruelty.
It laughs its liquid laugh and it says, good, good. A little hope is good for a little cruelty. The more fun when I rip it out your mouth. Watch, vigilance. Watch as I burn your most devout follower. And it lunges at you. So how are you going to fight this thing?
I don't know. Jeez.
You're just gonna go for it?
I think, yeah, I think there is nothing they can do. This, as far as they know, as far as like they are kind of concerned at this point. This is a god from the Northlands. This is a god that is part of the Brothers of Conquest. Is that a fair assumption?
Yes, the Sons of Conquest are basically the equivalent of the Tapestry, but from the north. And they have never, this is new. They have never encroached upon southern land before because of the teeth, because it protects us, because of the huntsman and the vigilance. So this is new, right? And you also know you're immortal. You're dead here. The only reason you're still standing is because it wants you to still be standing. There's no way you can beat this thing, right? So is your thought like this is your last stand? You're gonna die swinging.
Yeah, I think so. Die swinging and also crying. Temperance, kind of like, they whisper as it lunges, like, huntsman guide me, and they swipe. They fucking go loud.
All right. So bro to go loud. So that is our fight move. When you go loud on a mortal, god, or monster, say...
Connie, I fucking swear, look at the box. Look at the box. It's another 12. It's a 12 plus 2. That's a 13. That is literally almost the best I could ever roll. Donate. Donate. I am rolling on fire right now, okay? We're going in. We are swinging. The huntsman is guiding me. We're here.
Did you just say 12 plus 2 is 13?
No, 12 plus 1 is 13, actually. I did my math right. 12 plus 1 is 13. Is that true? I'm not wrong.
It is. Okay.
I have a plus 1 to grit, not a plus 2.
Yes. Okay. So when you go loud on a mortal, god, or monster, say how you're doing it and roll plus grit. So how are you doing it?
I am closing my eyes. And literally like going in physically into its mouth is as big as I am. So I'm going in swinging. Like I know it's going to eat me. It wants me to suffer. I'm going to get it over with. I'm getting in its mouth and I'm swinging. And I remember that dark little light and Tem's hand with their broken glaive stabs it right into it. As far as they can.
Sounds like, so on a hit, trade blows. On a 10 plus, you get to pick 2. So that sounds like you're landing a crucial strike, right? As one of the things you're choosing.
Yes, I would like to land a crucial strike, and I would also like to.
Would you like to read out the options?
Yes, my options here, chat, and maybe you can help me, are land a crucial strike, reduce damage taken by 2, which might be good because I'm kind of fucked up right now. Take something from them, create an opportunity for later, or shock, terrify, or mesmerize the opposition. I'm kind of leaning towards that, though. This is rather shocking, perhaps, that this little crybaby has gotten off the floor and has decided to go out swinging. I think that's what I want to do, just story-wise. I would like to land a crucial strike and shock, terrify, or mesmerize my competition.
So which of the 3 are you picking? Shock, terrify, or mesmerize?
I want you to pick, actually. I want you to see how does little cruelty feel about this?
As you lunge into its mouth, it goes and you hear sort of like a growl of surprise. It was not expecting you to fight, right? Really, like so hard too, and as you go into its mouth claps shut, right? And your glaive pierces that dark light that was sort of like deep in the back of its throat. Okay. And as you do, you hear the voice all around you, and there's sort of like this like damp, gory, like piercing black light all around you. You hear this voice go, what? No, what? And it's letting out this like ungodly shriek, like a sound that you've never heard in your life before, because I don't think you, Tem, I don't think you have ever heard a god die.
I didn't think gods could die.
Exactly. So there's
so stressed out right now. So stressed.
It turns out that the inside of this god's body is also lined with teeth. And how it dies is it constricts around you and then it dissipates. So the last thing that happens before this god wraps around you and disappears in wisps of like black smoke and a shower of gore and blood is I'm going to need you to take another 2 wound gnarly. So that's 1 wound gnarly.
Great.
Because of your armor.
Yes, can do. Ouch. Oh, the inside. Oops, all teeth.
Exactly. Oops, all teeth. So you are no longer inside this thing. Your glaive is maybe still outstretched because you're in that like last pose you struck before this thing, evaporates around you. And you see like the little orb, this little like black light is sort of speared through by the end of your glaive. And then it too sort of, instead of like disappearing, it actually sloughs off of your blade like oil. And it splatters onto the ground and then it seeps into the earth and disappears. There's a moment of silence. What do you do?
Temperance hiccups as they realize that they are still alive. And they look at the ground where the orb disappeared. They notice their outstretched hand, which is literally, they're painted red. They're literally painted red with...
You're covered in blood. Your entire body is splattered with gore. You're like Carrie from Carrie.
Oh, Carrie from Carrie. They look at their hands. They look at the ground. And they turn and look at Lila, the sheep.
Lila turns, looks at you, bleats, and runs off.
You're not going to do it? You're not going to do it?
That's her retreating.
The closed captioning should be sounds of sheep retreating. Temperance watches Lila go. They look, they are frozen. I don't necessarily think I have a move for any of this, but I think they just stand there. They look at the beads. Is this like... And I think they maybe actually just sink to their knees in this pool of blood and let the end of the glaive fall, their hands still trembling.
Okay. Oh, did you mark Godhood for when you failed that roll earlier?
Oh, no, I didn't. I forgot to do that.
Okay, so Godhood is basically how potential works here. So you can, if you mark Godhood 5 times, you get to take an advancement and then clear the track and keep marking it, which is different from skills. You only gain another skill point when you kill a god or spare a god. So as you sink to your knees, Temperance, like, I'm not sure you know what happened. You're like, did a little cruelty just give up? You know, like, oh, there's a mortal, like, a mortal can't even hurt a god. So there's no way that you like injured it and it retreated, right? Like, that's not possible. So like,
I think my like Temperance, the way that Temperance is trying to hold on to this was that the huntsman must have heard them and acted through them. That must be what just happened just there. Like that is literally the only explanation to what's going on right now. That's what happened. They asked the huntsman to guide them and he did.
And as you're kneeling there, like still reeling, like thinking like, was this the huntsman? Like, thank you, I guess. Like, what the hell was that? That happened so fast. That black oil, right? That had like seeped into the ground and you thought it disappeared. Actually, I don't think you notice it until it's too late. It rises up in a ring around you, right? It like seeps back up through the earth, and you hear a little cruelty's voice, but it's like an echo of a voice, like it's barely hanging on, and it goes, you, I don't know how, but you did. Fuck you. And spikes come out of the oil and pierce through you. and you are now cursed. So the curse that a little cruelty has laid upon you with its dying breath is that you begin to transform into a sheep. So roll 2d6.
Okay. Fuck. Are you fucking joking? Are my dice broken? Connie, look. Are you kidding me? I fucking swear to God, it's another double 6. Look at that. What the hell is wrong with my dice? That was 3 double 6s in a row. They're broken. Do I add anything to that? Donate more. This is your sign to donate. I am literally on fire right now. What the hell? Do I add anything to that?
Okay. No, you don't.
Okay, well then it's a 12.
Okay, wonderful. So in 12 days, the transformation will become irreversible. You will lose all awareness of ever being a person and live the rest of your days as a mindless sheep. So that would be a bad ending for the GODKILLER, but it is an ending that can happen.
And that's it. I turn into a sheep. Goodbye, everyone. Just kidding. What does it look like? What does it look like?
You tell me. What do the first signs of your transformation appear as?
Oh, absolutely excellent. I was just hoping you'd ask. Wait, that's so funny. The bad ending. The bad ending. Temperance's hair, which was kind of, like dull brown, begins to turn white from the ends, and it kind of like creeps up the length of their hair. Although they can't really tell since it's all stained red anyway. And it's like a splitting headache suddenly like pierces the side of their head as little nubbins begin to push out of their skin, and their pupils just slightly just widen the slightest bit.
Oh, yeah. And I think how curses work is you sort of have an innate understanding of like what is happening to you, right? As this happens. And it's like your head is like trembling and shaking and you've been cursed. Curses are not so uncommon in this world. So the other thing you know about curses, Tem, as a person who lives in the cradle, is that the only beings with the power to lay and remove curses are gods.
Oh boy. I know I've done a lot of entreating of the gods today. Well, I guess this is shocking too, as it happens, as this like pain like lances through Temperance. They choke a little bit as like their eyes behind their glasses, which I think maybe have cracked a little bit. And they like even like snatch them off their face. And it's kind of like a ring, like their glasses are covered in blood and maybe like they can kind of see like this ring, these bright gold eyes, as they look up and out, confused, defeated. They look up and they entreat. What do they say? Let's see what they say. Great Watcher, please see me. Please help me.
As you say that, a breeze begins to pick up around your feet. Leaves whisper against each other, and the smell of earth and pine fills your nose. The breeze picks up, and you are no longer in the teeth, in the hedgewoods. A clear blue expanse surrounds you. Wisps of white cloud spanning the horizon as far as you can see. You are in the middle of the sky, and you are falling. What do you do?
What do you think I do? I start to scream. And like flail. I don't know, fly. I try to do anything. I'm in the sky. That's where I am.
Actually, I have to do a quick correction. Actually, hold on. You're not. As you scream, you think you're falling, right? Because you're in the middle of the fucking sky. Turns out you're not falling. Actually, you're standing still. Yeah. There are occasional gusts of wind around you, right? And yes, you are in the middle of the sky, but your feet are planted on something. And when you look down, though, all you see is sky, and more sky. No floor, no ground, nothing. What do you do?
Oh my God, Temperance is having the worst day of their life. They're such a fanboy, you know, for the gods. Like they're like, I will say my prayers and do my daily duties. And now they are just having a fucked up day, a fucked up, extremely holy day.
Would you like to study a place of power?
I'm muted. Yeah, okay. I would love to study a place of power. Yes, please.
Okay, so roll plus sage. Say what you think is going on and then roll.
I think that this is punishment. I think that this is punishment for whatever it or it's the vigilance listening to me, but this kind of feels like punishment, probably, I imagine.
You are muted.
7. I no longer rolled double sixes. A 7 for me.
Okay, so on a 7 to 9, ask one. You have +1 ongoing while acting on the answers.
Oh, excellent. Okay, my options here are what happened here recently, what here is unstable or prone to disaster, who's really in charge, what's hidden from me, and what here can I use to blank. What is hidden from me? That is my ask. What is hidden from me here?
4 gods. Not long though, because you hear a voice as you're looking around being like, what the fuck is happening? Like you don't even see like ground, you know, you don't even see the cradle anywhere. It's like you're just literally in the middle of the sky and all, you know, below, above, to your left, to your right, everything is just blue, right? Hear a voice. It booms. Temperance, Tien, child of Rihoshi, child of Bellara, you are charged with desecration, unlawful hubris, negligence of animal life, negligence of human life, reckless endangerment, and blasphemy. How do you plead?
Oh God. Temperance, I think, will whirl around, you know, as if they turn, can they move? Can they turn? If they can, they are turning and moving, looking around for wherever this voice is coming from.
As the voice rings out, 4 gods shimmer into existence before you. One of them, the one who spoke, is tall and broad, all earth, sinew, axe, muscle, and spine. You think he takes the form of a human, though his face, even though it's exposed, escapes you. You recognize him as the huntsman. The second god is a black egret. Their neck is long and slender, and their golden eyes blink with an impenetrable expression. You recognize them as Aiba. The third god is about your height, give or take a few inches. A man with a handsome face, dark skin, and even darker hair. He is lying on a chaise lounge and eating grapes. You recognize him as Sior the Muse. Finally, the fourth god doesn't have a physical form at all. You hear her in the rustling of wind, the whisper of leaves, the smell of earth and pine. This is the vigilance of the Hedgewoods, the god who brought you here in the first place. What do you do?
I start crying. Temperance blubbering, like weeping. Like there are no words, I think, or they're like half-form words about like be champion, like champion. I don't know what's going on. As they they want to, I think, fall, but instead of maybe falling, since this is a strange place, instead of falling, they just kind of curl up on themselves, like in midair, so to speak, as they like hold onto like the front of their bloody shirt and cry.
Would you like to share your pain?
Ooh, yeah. Cool move. I want to share my pain. That's a funny thing to kind of say to someone. Okay.
All right, so sharing your pain, when you share your pain with someone, roll plus tender, which is another one of our stats. I think we've uncovered 3 of the 4 stats. We've used grit, sage, and tender now. What'd you get?
An 11.
Okay. So on a hit, you get through to them. Clear a condition. On a 10 plus, they share something intimate in return. So you don't have any conditions marked, which is good, but that does mean you get through to them, and that means they share something intimate in return. So which of the 4 gods are you picking?
I think the vigilance. That is the one that I think Temperance is closest to, or if they had to venerate one over the other in this is the tapestry. No, like this is the tapestry. So if they had to venerate one over the other, it would be the vigilance. They kind of like hold on to this smell of wind and forest where they just were.
You hear a woman's voice, though it also sounds like just the leaves rustling against each other and the flapping of birds' wings going from tree to tree is what this voice sounds like. And the vigilance speaks and says, "Huntsman, it is clear that this mortal had no idea what they were doing. We should be a little kinder to one of our own, especially one so devout. Don't you agree?" This mortal killed a god.
What? No, wasn't there was you. I called upon your guidance, and mortals can't kill a god. I didn't. I can't. I can't.
My child, Temperance, I have watched you ever since you were a baby, when you were abandoned in the teeth, and Rihoshi and Bellara adopted you. I have seen you grow up. I have seen you train with the staff and with the blade. I have seen you look over the tea and the sheep. And I tell you now, with nothing but empathy and love in my heart for you, that you have killed a god and that it is unforgivable. And I need you to get hit hard.
Oof. Ouch. That does hit hard. Damn, Connie. How do I do that?
So roll plus conditions marked, which is none. So just make a straight roll. So on
I can't make a straight roll. Don't be ridiculous.
Anyway, so on get hit hard is basically my equivalent of the masks move, take a powerful blow. So this is the one move you want to roll low on. Because if you take a powerful blow and you get a really high number, that means you take that blow real hard. So what'd you get?
It was only a 6, but I mean, Temperance they're gonna take it hard either way.
Okay, sounds good. So on a miss, that's what a 6 is. The fates lend a hand. Mark godhood as usual and say how you pull through. You are schmuted.
I'll make sure I know that later. It hits. And then I think denial sets in. I think that's how they weather this blow. Temperance, as the like tears are streaming down their face, like wiping little valleys in the blood, they start laughing. They're like, oh, divine ones, you are truly, the scriptures truly do not tell of your wisdom. You must know then that I have always wanted to be a champion. And I know that you test your champions vigorously. I never thought that I would become a champion for an elder god. I would have settled for someone small. But this this must have been your way of testing me, right? This is a test. God's love tests. This is a test of championship, is it not?
The huntsman, this god without a face, says you are delusional. And I need you to mark a condition. Oh, God. So tell me which condition you're marking. You're muted.
Just hitting me back and forth like a rag doll. What are my conditions here? Okay, here we are. Maybe guilty, perhaps? Guilty? I feel like maybe that works. Guilty.
Okay, so mark guilty. And say, why do you feel guilty when he calls you delusional?
Actually, I think insecure makes more sense because a god just told me that I was delusional. I think that makes more sense.
Yeah, totally. So these are the 4 major gods who are in charge of the tapestry. I don't know if you've ever interfaced with them like face to face before. This is very overwhelming. This is maybe like a part of you is like, am I dreaming? Like, is this a nightmare? Like, what is happening? Like, you're sort of having like an out of body experience here, right? Like, this doesn't just happen to anyone. As you're looking around, like this place definitely feels like holy, right? It feels divine, because you did roll a hit on study a place of power. Like, this is like some shit that most mortals do not see. Maybe not even most champions, right? You are privy. You're in like some sort of inner sanctum or something. And upon sort of seeing you reel with like, what does it look like as insecurity hits you?
There was hope in Temperance's eyes. And then there's not. As the wind like pushes them around, they see like a flash, like white in their hair, like kind of like brushes over their eyes, and they can feel like the push of like the ram's horns coming out of their skull, and when one of the gods that you have looked up to for your whole life calls you delusional, it breaks you, and Temperance shrinks back. I think horror starting to dawn on their face yet again.
As you shrink back and the hope like winks out of your eyes, Sior speaks. He swallows a grape, and then he says, "Oh, come, Hunty. I didn't. Oh my God! Wait! Wait! No! I didn't mean that. No. Okay, no, I can't use that. I can't say that. That was completely accident. Sior says, Sior appears on RuPaul's Drag Race. Sior says, "Oh, come now, huntsman. Look at this poor thing. Look at their face. They're not delusional. They love you. Is that such a way to treat such a devout worshiper of us?" And Sior actually pushes off of the lounge. And as soon as like he gets up, the lounge is gone. It doesn't even vanish. Like it was just like never there, right? And it's not even like startling. It was just seamlessly is gone. Right. And they stride. There's no ground, though, like forward a little bit toward you. And you can sort of feel their power, like emanating off of their body. And as they approach, like their form seems to shimmer as it gets closer to you. And they're no longer like a man, but a woman with like long golden curls coming down like a pale body, right? And she like stops slowly in front of you and like cocks her head to the side, and Sior regards you, Sior the Muse. Pauses and then turns to the rest of the gods and says, I think Tem is right. I think we should make them one of our champions. The Vigilant says, Sior, I don't understand. Tem is a mortal who, through no fault of their own, has not done anything particularly remarkable. Not that tending sheep and helping tea grow is not remarkable. It is simply, well, champions, they do dangerous things. What the hell are you playing at, Sior? Tem shouldn't be a champion. They should be killed on the spot. They're a danger to all gods. Whoa, come. Be reasonable, Vigilance, huntsman. They have a power, right? Tem, have you killed a god before? That was a trick question. Obviously, the Vigilance would have known if you had.
It's not possible. Mortals can't kill gods. And I think as Temperance is saying that, they're like trying to talk. They're trying to talk back to gods right now, and I think their words just kind of peter out, and they get real quiet again.
I really like that. The devouring has made so many impossible things possible. The drought we thought was impossible, but then the river dried up. And now, look at this, the cradle, a mere fragment of what our domain used to be. Think about it, Huntsman, Vigilance. If we had this mortal on our side, we wouldn't have to risk our necks trying to beat back those brutes from the north, right? This is a hidden weapon, don't you think? And at that, both the Huntsman and the Vigilance sort of like go quiet. Do you say or do anything, Tem?
I can't do that again. I don't know what happened. Vigilance, you're right. I've always wanted to be a champion, but I'm just a shepherd. I'm just a farmer. I haven't really even talked to other people. I've never kissed anyone. I've never really been to a big city, and I only know how to fight with my weapon, and even then it's just from things that I learned myself. Something must have happened. Some god or deity must have jumped into my body. I can't. I can't. I don't know.
The mortal is not wrong. This could have been a fluke. Strange things happen every day. Strange things like a mortal killing a god? Well, no. But how do we know this isn't just a one-time thing? I don't know how you did it. And at this, the Huntsman seems to whirl on you, all sinew and muscle and bristling with power. I don't know how, but I saw through the Vigilance's eyes. She shared what she saw with me, with Sior, with Iba. This was not something you had ever done before. So, because of that, I can believe it was not premeditated. Well, of course it wasn't look at them crying. They're covered in blood, for God's sake, says Sior. Look, I know this is unprecedented, but I have a proposal. You always have a proposal. Well, just listen, Huntsman. How about this? Tem, how would you feel about going on a quest?
Like, for you?
Not just me, for the entire tapestry, for the Southlands. Of course, the smartest way to go about this is to prove whether or not this power sticks. We can't have you going around killing one of our own. You understand? Sior, what are you proposing? Don't be rash. No. Let him talk. What if? Well, actually, it's not a what if. It's more of a, well, you can't exactly refuse me. You understand? I think it would be a good idea to have you go to the Northlands just for a little bit and kill a minor god, one of theirs.
That's blasphemy. I can't kill a god. I can't kill any god. That's the... And they kind of shrink, I think, under okay. If that's what you wish. Okay. I can try.
Sior, that's rash. There's no guarantee it would work. And vigilance. We all saw what happened just mere milliseconds ago. The incursions. Northern gods winding their way through the teeth. I don't know how they were able to get into the hedgewoods from the north, but we need to do something, vigilance. We can't just... If we want to protect our way of life, we have to strike first. And there's sort of like a long pause. During all of this, Aiba has not spoken. And you notice that Aiba, like, still does not speak. Like this black egret, like turning its like crane-like face. Like it's studying you very carefully with like one golden eye. Is there anything else you say or do?
Is something happening? Are you all in trouble?
Temperance, you witnessed what happened. The god you disposed of, a little cruelty, belongs to the sons of conquest. As we all know, the sons of conquest are barbarians. They seek to cross the teeth, destroy the tapestry, and seize the Southlands for themselves. For many, many years, the teeth and our magic have protected us from incursions. But for whatever reason, a few minor gods from the north were able to violate our borders today. A little cruelty, and a half a dozen more, all down the spine of the teeth. Why are you telling this mortal all this information? We just give them their quest and have them be on their way. The less a mortal knows, the better. Well, Huntsman, I understand the impulse, but I mean, if I were Temmie, I'd want to know a little bit about this quest before going on it, don't you think? What do you think about all this, Temmie?
I think I must be dreaming. And Temperance starts fucking crying again. They curl their head down and start crying, hoping that whenever they lift their head up again, they will not be here.
Okay, sounds good. As you cry and blubber, Huntsman goes, and they're weak. They have no force of will, no constitution, nothing. Look at them. They're not champion material. They're not even militia material. Well, they did kill a god, so that makes them something material. Sior, are you proposing to take Tem on as your champion? Well, unfortunately, I already have a champion, and I don't think she'd be very happy if she had to share the title. Aiba, you haven't taken a champion since... And then, like, Aiba, like, turns with that, like, big, like, golden eye, and Sior actually falters a little. And she goes, well, Aiba's out of the question. Vigilance? I don't believe that my champion would enjoy sharing the title as well. Huntsman? I would rather eat myself than have this whelp as my champion. Atalanta is stronger than them, tenfold. Well then, since none of us can take you as our champion, I think I might know someone. There's like a pause, and then the huntsman goes, Sior. Oh my god, that was my water bottle. The huntsman goes, oh my god, that was my water bottle. The huntsman goes, what do you have up your sleeve? Well, he's not technically one of ours, but I can vouch for him, okay? And he's a minor god, so he doesn't threaten us. All right? If he does betray us for any reason, I'll just kill him. And there's like a brief pause. And the vigilance goes, have you been consorting with the Sybarites again? Not the Sybarites, a Sybarite. His name's Dogtooth. And you hear both like the vigilance and the huntsman seem to groan, like in their own ways. Like the huntsman just goes, ugh. And the vigilance like leaves rattle in a way that feel irritated, you know? Sior turns to you and says, Dogtooth is actually at the base of the spiral right now. Sior, if I didn't know any better, I'd say you planned this. You're not hiding anything from us, are you? You didn't know that this immortal, well, wields this blasphemous power, did you? And you see like the huntsman, like he seems to get a little bigger, and as he begins to like advance, like on Sior a little. But Sior holds fast.
I think, well, Temperance is a little insecure, but they're still stupid. So I think Temperance actually gets up and kind of I don't know if I would have to roll for that one move, but kind of like puts themselves in between Sior and the huntsman. Again, like very like venerative, their hands like, oh, maybe there's like a cool, I wonder like what the gesture is that is like considered holy, because I don't think it's, it's not this. I don't know. Well, I have to think about it more, but they like do whatever it is, kind of above their head with, their head inclined. They say, please, it was just an accident. I didn't know anything. Please. It tears me apart to watch you all fight.
You dare intervene in a divine affair. This is between me and another god. You are just a mortal. I could wink you out of existence with huntsmen. Look at them. They're shivering. And they're cursed. But look at them. They're so brave, aren't they? Even though we are gods, and they're nothing more to us than an ant to a mortal, still they stand for their gospel. Still they stand for what they believe in. Is that not worth something? Is that not art of the highest order? Peh. And the huntsman like shrinks down and turns and says, fine, I wash my hands of this. Do what you want with this god killer. I will have nothing more to do with this. When you send them on their suicide mission to the Northlands and the first god's cursed monster comes around, eats them and shits them out, I care not. And the huntsman disappears. The vigilance goes, Temperance, I will not be able to see or protect you in the Northlands. You should train. Though I have my reservations about Dogtooth and the Sybarites, they are not bloodthirsty, vicious heathens like the Sons of Conquest. Don't trust Dogtooth. Oh, come on, don't. But do as he says. This is my parting advice to you.
I venerate you, Mother of Eyes, Great Watcher. Thank you for showing me your mercy. I will not forget it.
And I will not forget you, child. And you feel something kiss you. And your curse is lifted. But the horns and the hair stays. Doesn't reverse, right, what the curse has done, but does lift, stop the transformation.
So I get permanent little nubbins and white hair now? I planned this. I wanted permanent horns and white hair now. Yes.
Okay, great. And then the vigilance disappears. And Sierra says, so just go through those doors, and then suddenly there are doors. Like these huge, actually big, very vast, epic looking gates of wrought gold and silver and horn. Go down the stairs, and Dogtooth should be at the bottom. I've let him know what's happening.
Thank you. I venerate you and hold you in the highest order.
Oh, just pour one out for me the next time you go binge drinking, honey. And she turns around, saunters off, and disappears. The last to disappear is Iba, the black egret, silently looking at you with that one golden eye. Do you say or do anything?
I think, Temperance still here on the ground. They look up. And they incline their head kind of to what would be the floor, even though it's just more open space. What would they say to Iba? Let's see here. Restless and free spirit, please guide my travel.
And Iba takes off and then disappears into the sky. So it's just you and the door. And I think that's a good place to take a break, right? If you do feel like a break would be nice for you, see?
Yeah, I could use a quick 5.
Okay, sounds good. So Ray, if you're out there, Ray, if you're listening,
Ray, we're contacting you from the ether. We're contacting you now. How much longer do we have?
We have until 9. So that is another hour and 15.
Well, our time 9, I suppose.
Awesome. That would be nice. Maybe a quick 5, so we'll be back at 47.
We will get that sorted now. All right. See you in 5, folks.
Hello, hello. Thank you so much for counting us in, Ray. Really appreciate it. Hello, everybody. It is so great to see all of your non-existent digital faces yet again in the chat. I'm Connie. This is C. We are on part 2 of our Godkiller playtest one-shot sort of / session 1 situation going on here. So as a reminder about content warnings for this session and the game in general, they include war, gore described in detail, blood, R-rated violence, body horror, animal death, harm to animals, religious trauma, cults and fanaticism, and psychological horror. We are also using the X card to help facilitate safety tools in play.
Except I saved the sheep, so no problems there.
Yeah, the sheep were scared, but you were the one who got fucked up a little. Oh my god, wait, your arm is still also fucked up during this entire conversation with the gods. Your arm has been like absolutely fucked.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think that there are a few other things on Temperance's mind. I think just a couple others, you know.
All right, so to bring us right back into the action, Temperance, your arm like throbbing dully, right, with pain. Some of the blood coming out. You do notice that the blood has like stopped flowing. So maybe like whatever divine energy is in this space has helped like staunch the bleeding a little bit. You approach the door and you open it. These huge double gates sort of swing outward, revealing the top step of a long flight of stairs, winding and spiraling down, down, down. You actually realize where you are as the doors are open. You're at the very top of the staircase in the spiraling city, which is the capital of the tapestry and several hundred miles away from home.
Oh no. Oh no.
Yep. So these are like huge floating stairs that curl and curve and spiral all the way down. It looks like you look like you're like a quarter of a mile in the air. And you like, there's no like railing, you know, like this isn't like man-made. It seems like divinely like magic, like suspends like each floating step all the way down and all the way up. And you can see like sort of like the terraced construction of the spiraling city underneath you. You see like this is the biggest city in probably all of the Cradle, right? Because the Northlands are kind of fucked up and ravaged and like desert, you know, like they're more of the like classic apocalyptic wasteland, right? But here like there's like civilization here. There's forests, there's like streams, there's lakes, there's like actual life, like wildlife and green stuff, you know, and like earth that can be farmed, right? So you see the what looks to be like a fantasy city, right? Like sprawled out like underneath you. Like you see buildings, you even see like a fountain in the corner. You see like a stream seems to like wind through the city and like cut it into like several different pieces. And you are sort of in the middle of a city that's like sprawled out with, you know, the hedgewoods sort of like brims all around it. Like this is sort of like the vigilance's domain. Like she sees every single thing that happens in the city, right? And the very famous divine staircase that winds up from the center of the city, right? From the pupil of the eye of the city. So you're dead center. And you know, based on, you know, your knowledge of the world, having lived here, that no mortal, unless appointed by the gods, is allowed to go up or down the stairs. Like they can't. It's physically impossible for a mortal to go up or down. So what do you do?
Oh God, I'm glad Temperance isn't. Well, they spend a lot of time in the mountains, so they're not afraid of heights. Actually, that's actually pretty good for them. I think because if this is like the vigilance's domain and this is like the pupil, does it make kind of an eye shape out from the middle?
It absolutely fucking does.
Yeah, hell yeah, it does. Hell fucking yeah, it does. Fantastic. Temperance wavers at the top. Is it still gnarly, like, or has that kind of been staunched also by the gods?
You still have 2 wound marked, but neither of them are gnarly now.
Excellent. So glad we did that. So very glad we did that. Okay. It's a very loud car outside. Let's see. Temperance, I mean, there's only one thing for them to do. They start to walk down the stairs. I think after a moment, they kind of, are they still like covered in blood too? Like their shepherding clothes, their hair, everything's covered in blood.
Yes, you can kind of surmise that God, even these gods who care about people, care about their domain, their worshippers, you could argue, they aren't mortals, so they probably don't know how much pain you're in. Or like the fact that you being covered in blood is something you can't fix by just like snapping your fingers, like it's like telling an alien that you need to wear clothes, right? It's just sort of, so there's, they haven't really given you the VIP treatment on your way out here.
Understood. That's fine. I mean, this is entirely overwhelming. I think maybe actually Temperance, like at the top of the stairs, sits down on one of them, kind of like puts their head between their knees, realizes that now there are these two nubs that kind of like make that a little bit hard, shift their knees around, and they just take like 5 minutes to just get their breathing under control. They look up. It's not a dream. They like sit for like another moment. Do they have their glaive, their prayer beads? Like all of that stuff is still with them, like the broken end of their glaive.
Yeah, all your stuff is with you.
They say a small prayer to the vigilance of the Hedgewoods, I think, to watch over their flock, which they now realize has no shepherd and is still technically up in the Teeth, because that is no longer where they are. They are at least a week's travel, if not more, from home. They say, I think they just say, "Oh, Blueberry, please don't go looking for any more clover." And with that, I think finally, as they like center themselves in whatever new unbelievable situation that they are currently living in, they stand finally and begin to walk down the stairs. And I don't know if it's too much trouble. They spend literally their entire life climbing up and down the Teeth. So they probably have really strong calves.
Yeah, as you go down the stairs, these stairs are still really long. Like this is probably equivalent to being like really high up in the mountains, like real high up in the mountains. So like the air is thinner up there, right? And as you get down, like you realize, oh, I'm getting heavy, like a little lightheaded because of like the change and how much oxygen there is. So your body's like, whoa, like working overtime to like pump more oxygen through your blood. And as you go down, by the time you reach the bottom, the sun has moved a little. The sun has like moved a little across the sky. And when you finally take the last step down, as you get lower and lower and lower, you can't see the entirety of the city anymore, or the Hedgewoods. You can just see the buildings. They begin to get bigger. You begin to see the bustle and hustle of like merchants' carts, and like little trade posts set up, and people like dumping water like out of their like windows, and like kids running around in the streets. Like very much think like, well, rats in London, like sort of like very like, I don't know where that came from, but like very like, you know what I mean? Like that kind of vibe. Yeah. And as you get lower and lower, you realize that the staircase originates from like a central square in the spiraling city. Why don't you tell me what the first thing you notice about this square is?
Well, this is a place that I think Temperance has always wanted to go. Like, I believe, is this the place that like what if there's a champion being championed? I don't know what the verbiage of that would be, but somebody becoming a champion like in the square, like as Temperance is coming down. What about that?
I love that. You see an old woman. She is crouched down, like with her like head like inclined. And like there's a huge crowd nearby, like in the middle of this square. And you see like a god with a rapier out. and he is like it looks like he's like knighting her, and he's saying something, right? And he's like very slender, and you notice that he's like draped in these robes, but he also seems to be like dripping, like he's wet while he's standing there. And there's like a crowd nearby, and you notice out of like the back of his body, like there's like a rope of water that seems to like flow out and like connect him with like one of the streams that's like flowing and bisecting parts of the city. And you hear him sort of like in the distance. You can't hear what he's saying, but he seems to be knighting his new champion, this old woman, right? And then like she rises and the crowd like cheers, goes woo, you know, they like cheer, and she like rises, she accepts the rapier and like bows deeply, right? And then like sheaths it into like a scabbard that was attached to her hip.
Temperance feels maybe, I mean, they're still insecure. They have literally never been around this many people, even like the number of people in the square, not even thinking about the number of people in the entire city. They live in a remote village, in a remote house, in a remote village, doing the most remote job in a remote house, in a remote village, on a remote corner of the remote fucking cradle. Okay, like they live so far away from other people. They got homeschooled because they were so far from the nearest school. So they are very intimidated, and I think they start to slow as they get like closer and closer toward the bottom. Like, can people see them coming down? Has anyone noticed them? Could I maybe study a place of power as I get down here?
You sure can. Roll plus Sage. Go for it like a groundhog.
If I could do simple math, 6, 7, 8, 9. Got a 9 on that one.
Okay, say what you think is going on first.
Well, I mean, I think that this person is becoming a champion. And I genuinely don't know. I mean, I'm looking for Dogtooth also. Like, I assume that Dogtooth is waiting for me at the bottom. Like they said that they like, oh my God, I forgot the god's name.
Sior.
Like Sior said they would be. And that there's also other like divine happenings here. Like, they're just gods walking around. Never seen a god. Gods just are here. What's happening?
Totally. Exactly. So you get to ask one question from the list.
Okay. Ooh. I mean, Temperance really doesn't want to be seen. So I think, what here can I use to hide my arrival? Or like, is there a way to use this other thing happening so that nobody notices me drenched in blood walking down from the god's highest divine point?
Absolutely. A different stream on the other side of the square sort of like is like glimmering in like the morning sun now at this point. So you could probably use the water from that river to wash off the blood before anyone like notices you. No one seems to have noticed you coming down the stairs. The stairs are also like really big. So someone would have to be particularly eagle-eyed to see you come down. And like no one ever goes up or down the stairs, really. So no one's like looking at them. Like, let's see, like, oh, who's going up the stairs today? You know, that doesn't really happen. And you're very lucky, actually, that there is a champion being crowned here, because everyone in the square's attention is drawn toward that ceremony.
Cool. I think when Tem realizes that, they actually, instead of slowing down, they start to hurry up a little bit. They like maybe take like 2 steps at a time if they can to get down as fast as possible.
Sounds good. Yeah, you do that. You're like almost like stumbling and falling as you get all the way to the bottom of the staircase. And are you heading straight for the stream?
Well, Dogtooth, whoever that is, should be waiting for me at the bottom. So like maybe they hesitate for just a second. Like, are there guards here? Like, if there's nobody there, then I think they would kind of like do a, you know, like a nervous look a few times over the shoulder as they like go toward the stream. So how guards and I guess like policing works here is this is like not private. They're like there's like a citizen militia that happens in the Southlands, which is very different from like the random raiders and marauders of the North. So walking around, like they do occasionally, like it's like the community like
keeping an eye out for each other. So it's like civilians who are trained somewhat, and they help train each other. So you don't see, there's no like guards and plate armor or anything like that. But as you get to the bottom, you look around, you don't see, no one like approaches you. No one, it's not like it's someone at the airport being like Temperance, Tin, Godkiller, you know, like, so you don't actually see anyone who looks like they could be a Dogtooth or anyone nearby really at all. What do you do?
Temperance will go over to the stream, trying to like get maybe like duck behind any like beautiful piece of divine art that's around to like, and they're gonna like take off their shepherd's coat, which is embroidered by their parents, you know, hand embroidered, but it's literally drenched in blood. They're gonna just like put it in the river as much as possible, like keep one hand on it and use the other hand to like wash their face as much as possible. Because I think their like black trousers can kind of soak up some of the blood, but like the stuff that's like on the front of their shirt, they're trying to like, you know, like they splash onto the front of their shirt a little bit, and they're like getting their coat dry and trying to wash their face off more.
As you do this, like you're like crouching, like washing your fucked up clothes in the river. You hear a voice come from behind you. And the voice goes, you know, that's a god, right? Shape of Water is not going to be very happy about what you're doing to him.
I turn around. Oh no, who's talking to me?
Oh, yes, I muted myself. Thank you. The person talking to you is a man. Tall, maybe 6 foot or so. He is dressed in impeccable leathers, and a really nice golden chain sort of hangs off of one ear and like is like attached to like his nose, you know? And he looks at once striking and unremarkable, like he would blend into a crowd, but if he wanted you to pay attention to him and realize how pretty he was, then you would, you know? And he has black scleras with these like white rings around his pupils, and he is smiling at you, a very roguish smile. And you notice that his left tooth is his left canine is that of a dog's. Other than that, he looks totally mortal. What do you do?
Aha. I have a skill called Theologist, which means that when I first meet a god, I can scroll down to find that skill and read it so I don't read it wrong. Where is it? Hello. Oh, can I read? Yes, when I meet a god for the first time, I can roll plus Sage, and then maybe ask questions depending on how well I do. So can I do that, please?
Go for it.
It was just a 6.
Okay, a miss. So on a miss, usually that means like you don't really get anything, but because this is GODKILLER's all out sacrifice, there is a special mechanic where upon a miss, let's see, what did I write here? You can make a sacrifice. Okay, whenever you roll a miss on a move that's a 6 or under, you can always tell the GM what you're willing to sacrifice in order to succeed. And since this is a pretty like low stake sacrifice, like, you know, like you're not like rolling to like save someone's life, right? You're rolling to like figure this person out. Tell me what you're willing to sacrifice and I'll tell you if it's enough to change it to a success.
I think maybe Temperance is willing to sacrifice their dignity in this moment, where they kind of like, they would like gasp and like roll around, and maybe also their privacy that they kind of like tried to you know, make sure nobody noticed them. Maybe in this moment, instead, they would sacrifice their privacy by turning around and shouting Dogtooth, like, are you Dogtooth? Like really loud.
Yeah, that's enough. So change that miss to a success of 7. Make that sacrifice as established, you just did, and resolve the move, and you still get to mark godhood as if you missed.
Love that. Okay, in that case, I will ask two. What is their gospel and what are they looking for?
So their gospel is really interesting. All gods have a gospel, except this one. Looking at him, looking at Dogtooth, you can't figure it out, even on a success. And what that means is when I give you just a hard no, you know, when I just say no to what you're asking, that means like no one else does either. Other gods don't really know what Dogtooth's angle is. And you can sort of like surmise that's probably why the Vigilance and the Huntsmen were very wary of him. Was there a second question? What are they looking for? He is looking for you.
Thanks, GM.
You're welcome. He is looking for... He has been looking for someone like you for a long time. And he has finally found you. What I mean by that is someone who can change the world. Okay. What he wants to change the world into, though, you don't know.
Yeah, I think Temperance like shouts like, "Are you Dogtooth?" Like way louder than they meant to, dripping bloody water, and you know, still kind of insecure as they realize how loudly they spoke. They, you know, they cover their mouth and they shrink back a little bit.
You know, I like you, but if you're trying not to draw attention to yourself, GODKILLER, I recommend you take your wet clothes and walk with me.
I think Temperance just grabs their wet clothes. Like, I think using the wet shepherd's cloak, like kind of presses it against their front where like all the blood was on the white part of their shirt, like to try to cover it up. And they, you know, basically trot after Dogtooth as he begins to walk.
Dogtooth begins to lead you through the spiraling city, past where the anointment of the next champion is sort of winding down. And as way of explanation, you know, maybe he notices you staring at like the woman, you know, as a champion. He goes, you know, don't feel too jealous. That's Shape of Water. He controls this little, and he gestures for the stream that sort of winds its way around like the center of the square. But that's all really. He doesn't even control the rest of the streams in this city. He isn't looking, or rather he wasn't looking for a champion that can swing a sword, fight monsters, save people. No, his champion was more of a pet project for him. So don't feel too jealous. She's just there to shine his boots.
And that, she's still a champion, right?
Of a minor god. Speaking of which, it's a pleasure to meet you formally. The name's Dogtooth. I'm at your service. And he bows at the waist to you.
Temperance goes a little red in the cheeks. This is the seventh god they've seen today after literally never after literally never seeing one ever before in their life. And it is entirely too overwhelming. And I think they like kind of like, you know, they like jerk back a little bit, and then they also like bow maybe so hard that they like knock their skull against his, like doink. And then they're like, oh wait, I'm sorry.
There's no need to apologize. It's not like I'm important or anything. I don't have any worshippers.
What? Then how do you get your magic?
I'm still a god. Magic still comes from within me. When the river dried up, some say the rest of the magic went to the gods remaining here, underneath the river. Either way, I'm not here to eulogize about the philosophy of magic with you. I noticed that they didn't fix you up. And he gestures at your like fucked up arm.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm okay. It's kind of numb, but I don't like, and they kind of like avert their gaze. I don't like to see the bone.
You see, the problem with all these big, important, powerful, major, mighty gods is they forget that the people who worship them don't think like us. And as he talks, you can actually feel your arm like mending itself back up. Like it's an odd sensation as like your muscles like stitch themselves back together and your bone cracks back into place, and those holes like seal up as like, your flesh, is sutured by magic. That he's like pulling with his like mouth as he's talking. Right. Like that's how he's speaking it into existence, even though it's in a very roundabout way. And you can heal yourself for 2 wound with that. And he goes, that's why I'm not really interested in acquiring more power for myself, you see. I don't want to get out of touch with the salt of the earth. Know what I mean?
Temperance does not know what he means, but they nod anyway. Yeah, thank you. My name is Temperance, but you probably knew that already. Temperance Tien.
Temperance Tien. Yes, I did know that already, but I appreciate your politeness. Here, this should be a good place to talk in private. And he turns and leads you into a establishment. It appears to be an inn of some sort. But as you enter, you realize it's not an inn at all. It's a tea room, tea house. So you see like several low tables, with other people, but it's like very sparsely populated. And the hustle and bustle of like, there's so many people around you. People are like pushing carts, like kids are running around, like chickens, like squawking in the street, even like goats, like running around and bleating and honking. So when the door closes behind you of this tea room, everything gets like muffled and it's like kind of quiet. And you can see a bard in the back, like playing like a Goulian, like a kind of like stringed like instrument, like a ding, 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 ding. Like it's like very peaceful. And there's like the smell of incense in this room. And he goes, please have a seat.
I think Temperance immediately feels far more at home than they did a moment ago, as their parents are tea farmers. And like the smell hits them. And I think for the first time in like an hour? What has it been? Maybe 2 hours. Their heart rate starts to finally come down. And damp from the stream, still, the residue of blood, trauma, they sit cross-legged across.
Dogtooth waves and a attendant comes over and sets like two cups of tea in front of you, and it smells really good. This is like, you could smell, just based on the smell, this is some top-notch green tea, right? As it wafts up. And Dogtooth says, so let's get to know each other a little bit, right? Don't be nervous. Don't think of this as an interview for a championship or anything like that. Think of this as a first date.
Temperance obviously chokes on their tea. Like, I don't know what else you want them to. They like spit it, like a little bit spits back into their cup as they like. If you're trying to make me less nervous, I suggest we just stick with an interview.
And he slicks his like short white hair like back, and then he says, all right, your loss, interview it is. So before we get into the details of this quest, Temperance, tell me about yourself.
Well, what was the name of my village? Do we have one?
Chobbing.
I grew up outside of Chobbing, and my parents are tea farmers, and I well, they were two farmers, and then my mom was also the shepherd, and my other parent was the tea farmer. But then my mom got to, her knees couldn't climb the mountain like we used to, so I took over, and I've been doing that for a while now. But I've always wanted to be a champion. And they kind of like offer this broken, like just the spear part of their glaive. I taught myself how to use a staff and a sword and a spear, but there aren't too many gods way out there, so I just kind of kept, I would just do the shepherd thing and hope that one day it might all work out. But I guess this is not exactly what I expected.
And you're an orphan. Or you were.
I have parents. They're my parents. I don't remember being in the woods. I was just a baby. So they're my parents. I'm not an orphan.
Good answer. How'd you learn how to fight?
I taught myself, and I read books, but I mostly taught myself. You can kind of figure out where the weight needs to be when you have a lot of time on your hands. And I needed to hunt, I couldn't come down the mountain every day, so I spent a lot of time up in the teeth.
I see. For a shepherd, you're pretty strong. My friend, Sior, showed me what the vigilance showed him about you killing a little cruelty.
It must have been a mistake. He must have already been dying. It's just it's not possible. I don't know what happened, but I didn't kill them. There's no way.
How did you know about his weak spot?
The glowing orb in his mouth? Is that what you mean?
You didn't mute. Yes, that is what I mean.
I mean, when you're looking into the jaws of your death, tend to notice what's around you. It just looked, I could see it. It was eye level. It's where it was speaking from.
He pauses, takes a sip of his tea, and sets it back down. And then he says, "Do you know how we kill each other? Gods, I mean."
I don't really like to think about it, so I assume you just fight, right? Like champions do.
Oh, but you're named after the first god to ever be slain, so I think you should know. Yes, we do fight like mortals, but our fights are precise, and they are rare. Because unlike you, we can't just kill each other by chopping off our heads, or stabbing ourselves through the heart, or hitting us repeatedly until we die. There is a specific ritual, a specific process. Every god, minor, major, or elder, like it or not, has a weakness. At least one. Usually more than one. Depending on how powerful a god is, they might have more weaknesses, which of course means they have more strengths, but also more vulnerabilities. Weaker gods like myself, we usually only have one or two. So we keep those pretty close to the chest.
Why are you telling me this? I don't understand.
Because when we send you out there on your quest to kill a god, I want you to be prepared. If you really do have the ability to kill one of us, Temperance, you have to do it right. You can't just go blindly hacking and slashing. You'll die. Painfully. Quickly.
But it's blasphemous. That's what the huntsman said, is that to try to if you taught me how to kill a god, I could never be immortal. I could never go back to not knowing. Wouldn't that just make me a monster?
There's a pause. Dogtooth says, would it? Or would it make you a hero? Think about it, Temperance. If you really can kill a god, think of all the good you could do. You could kill Fire and Blood, the leader of the Sons of Conquest, and preserve the way of the life of the Southlands forever. You could kill the gods that are out there to spread hatred and pain. A little cruelty was just a little cruelty. There are more like him, more powerful gods, more arrogant. The reason why the Vigilance, the Huntsman, Sior, Aiba, they don't directly interfere, they don't throw their lives down on the line is because they have too much to lose. But you're immortal. You can go wherever you want. You have no obligations. You have no debts. You're a free agent. In a lot of ways, Temperance, you're a lot more powerful than a god.
So in order to clear the insecure condition, if I am correct in scrolling up as fast as I possibly can to read it, let's see, where is it? Oh my god, I can't find it, Connie. That's my feedback for you, is make it easier for me to find things on this document. I don't know where it is.
I have a sidebar.
I don't see the sidebar, but maybe that's my problem. Anyway, I need to create a spectacle during a bad time, right? This has been an intense day for dear Temperance over here. And I think that this is just like one more thorn that they can't take. And they like stand up, and like the teacup fucking shatters. They throw it down beside them, and it shatters onto the ground, and they yell, "There is nothing more powerful than a god. They cannot be killed, and I won't do it. I don't want to." They stand there like panting, as you know, this kind of like cools down around them.
Dogtooth looks completely unruffled. You know, even as like it shatters and like the attendants like gasp, and like the other people like in the tea room like finally look at you. They're like, "What the hell are you talking about?" You know, like the Dogtooth is just like calmly sipping his tea, and he goes, "Well, it's not about what you want, Temperance. It's never about what you want. It's about what the rest of us want, right? What, are you mad? What are you going to do about it?
Fuck. I think that is also what happens. And they kind of like sit back down, slowly. I just don't understand. I was taught and believed all these things about divinity, about the gods, that they loved each other and that they were united and that the northern gods just had their own world. I don't understand why they need to eat each other. I don't understand. Can I share my pain here? Ha 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 ha. Okie doke. I need to roll with tender.
All right, share that pain. Tell me what you get.
13, baby. I have a very high tender. Temperance is a cry baby. And I think there's something kind of hopeless in their face that like this like shattered dream of becoming a champion has like blown up in their face so immensely that they just don't know how to move forward. There's no way forward for them that feels right.
Okay, so on a hit, you get through to them, clear conditions, so you can clear and secure. And on a 10 plus, Dogtooth will share something intimate in return. Dogtooth looks at this like hopelessness in your face, right? He's still sipping his tea. He considers you. And he says, you know, a long time ago, Tem, I think I was very much like you. I was younger. I was angry and confused and lost. When the river dried up, none of us knew why. None of us knew how. And when our magic began to fade, when all magic began to fade, we became scared. Magic, as you know, is limited now. Once you use it, it doesn't come back, even for us gods. We can regenerate our magic, of course, after we use it, but it's slow. It takes years. And unfortunately, we don't have the luxury of years anymore. That's why we kill each other. That's why we eat each other. There's another pause. And he goes, I can tell this has been a long, hard, painful day for you. I think you deserve a break.
I never thought that the only way I would become a champion would be after I did the most reprehensible thing a person can do.
Don't be so down on yourself, Temperance. Us gods do these reprehensible things every day. The only reason it's reprehensible is because you were never supposed to be able to do it.
I can't go back now, can I? Fine. Fine. Then I want you to teach me so that I can, I don't know, so I could find a way back.
I will. In fact, I have the perfect trainer in mind for you. I'm not much of a fighter myself, but, well, you've always wanted to be a champion, right? I may or may not have pulled a few strings while we've been talking and gotten... Oh, don't look so surprised. You think this is my only form? You think other versions of me haven't been out there doing other things?
Oh. I guess. I don't know why I didn't guess. You are a god after all.
Yes, I am, and I still love the face that comes across a mortal's expression whenever I flex my magic a little bit. It makes me feel like I'm worth something. And he sort of like chuckles ironically and says, yes, I've managed to convince someone that you want to be to train you, to prepare you.
A champion. A real champion to train me. Do they know what I'm being trained for?
She does. She's not happy about it. But what can I say? I'm charming. What do you say, Temperance? Why don't you take a rest and we'll go meet Atalanta in the morning?
Atalanta, like the huntsman's champion? Ruh-roh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And on that, I think it's time for us to like wrap up, right? Because like that, I mean, we're 20 out, yeah, from the end of our scheduled stream. So that hey everyone, welcome, hi. That was a little taste of the GODKILLER RPG. See, thank you so much for being such an amazing playtester and such a great partner and friend. I really appreciate it. How was that for you? See?
That was great. We've been kind of like back and forth. This campaign is like what are we gonna do as a podcast? Is this just gonna be like a D&D campaign? And I think that you really found your stride, Connie, in like making this its own playbook because the world is so rich. There's so much to explore. And I feel like I stepped outside of my comfort zone as well, playing a new style of character, because usually I like brooding assholes exclusively. So playing a character who is like hopeful and soft and crybaby was really fun for me. So good job, Connie. That was so much fun. Thank you for taking the hits as they come. I feel like I was kind of nice to you, generally speaking. I feel like I could have fucked with you more.
Yeah, but I'm okay with that, honestly. I would have been okay with you fucking with me too. I really have to thank you, C. You were a really, really, really good player for this. I think you were really leaning into the themes and like saying yes to a lot of like the things like the book, the rules were asking you to say yes to, like Tem having a literal identity crisis, you know, where I feel like another player would have been like, yeah, whatever, what's the quest, you know, like, which is fine, which is a way to engage with it. But I'm glad you were really like emotionally fraught about all the things I was throwing at you. I really appreciated that.
Who, me? Playing a character who's emotionally fraught? You wouldn't have thought, would you? Just kidding. It's my favorite thing. Well, yeah, y'all, congratulations on hitting our stretch goal here tonight. Thank you so much for your support. Friends who rolled dice, rolling for Austin. Y'all are amazing. Congratulations. So glad that I could be here. Thank you so much to all of the organizers of this event for inviting Connie and I on. It was really, really amazing. Thank you all so much. Thank you everyone who supported the stream tonight, everyone behind the scenes, folks who made the overlays, folks who brought us in, Ray for being such an amazing person behind the scenes producing. Thank you. We appreciate you. I appreciate you. I'll let Connie speak for yourself, I guess.
Great. Thank you for that. See, yeah, this is just as a way of introduction. As a reminder, my name's Connie. I'm friends with Aki and She. You can follow me on Twitter at @byConnieChong and on Tumblr at @DandDaddy Issues. I am also the GM and executive producer of Transplanar RPG, which is an all transgender, y'all know the drill, people of color led 100% homebrewed Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition live streamed actual play campaign set in an original non-colonial anti-Orientalist world. I'm also a professional GM with Magpie Games curated play program. I have a campaign opening up in April for Masks: A New Generation. So tickets will go on sale in just a couple of days for that. And you can find GODKILLER RPG on itch in just a couple of weeks. So if you are interested in like nabbing like a quick start guide, it's probably going to be like 25, 30 pages with like quest ideas, you know, all the mechanics, you know, that are in playtest, you know, version, like an ashcan version of like a quick start guide. Follow me on itch at ByConnieChong, ByConnieChang. I will also be posting other kinds of games, modules, and supplements on there very soon, including stuff for D&D 5th edition, system agnostic supplements, as well as PBTA stuff. So if any of that's interesting to you, follow me on itch to get like that reminder when my things first come out. And yeah, C, why don't you plug yourself?
Sure. Thank you so much again, everyone, for being here. My name is C. I use they, them pronouns. I am a professional dancer, a digital artist, and a tabletop streamer. You can find me streaming on my channel at pi_sharp right here on Twitch, Tuesdays, Fridays, and Sundays, and occasionally whenever the hell I want to, at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, mostly doing art. I do lots of art raffles for subs and stuff like that. So if you're interested in stuff like that, hit me with a follow. I'd appreciate it. You can also find me on like the Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, Escape at pi_sharp_art. Yeah, and of course, I am a cast member on Chintz Pinner RPG. But really support Connie, y'all, because they've been working so hard on all these amazing projects. And I feel honored to be a player and a supporter of Connie. So I hope you will join me in that endeavor. And that's really it. What was I going to say? I feel like I was going to say something else, but now I don't know anymore. Connie, take it away.
Awesome. So with that, thank you all so much for tuning in. Ray, if there's any like end of session, end of game housekeeping things you need to say as a mod, like a producer, please go ahead and say them because we're all out here and we are ready to say goodbye.
Thanks, y'all. We hit our target and we still have more games to go. I'm struggling to actually find what to say because every time we do one of these, we're like, we'll go ahead and make this goal. You know, it'd be cool if we hit it, and then the community just they just blow it all away all the time. Yeah, thank you so much to everyone who donated. Thank you to everyone watching and liking and retweeting and donating to other places and other causes going on at the moment. Y'all are the best. Thank you to Connie and C for donating your time to help us raise some money. And yeah, like they said, go follow them and support all of their projects and future projects. And that's about it. We have another game tomorrow playing at the same time, which is also part of this fundraiser. We have a fantastic cast for that as well. We're super excited to have folks on board. The name of the game has now escaped me because of course it has. There we go. We are playing Heist. Get Rich or Die Trying, with some fantastic folks, both from the TTRPG sphere and from our streaming team of Emporium. So go ahead and check that out as well. It'll be just as entertaining. Other than that, yeah, thank you so much. Take care, keep safe, medicate, hydrate, all of that stuff, and look after each other. Catch you soon.